Hey, hope you guys are having a good day. You're tuning in to howtoplaystock.com. My name's Casey. The house you're seeing behind me here is my wife and I's house. I hope to have this thing paid off here in the next couple of years, just due to the fact that I'm debt free. The reason why I'm shooting this video is because I'm going to introduce you to a good friend of mine. He was the best man at my wedding. I've known him for about 5 years now. And you know, I want to introduce you to him because he has a lot to say about some of the strategies that I've taught him over the years when it comes to paying off debt. Okay, so I want to introduce you to him and pay attention to what he has to say, because this man's got a really good story to tell, and it just shows proof that some of the stuff that I'm showing you in my videos really does work for other people, not just myself. So keep watching, and I'll see you in the next portion of this video. Alright, so I'm driving over to my friend Eric's place, but just to give you a little bit of clarity on the introduction there that I was shooting in front of my wife and I's property, I said I was debt free, and I am. The story goes like this, okay? So I met my wife 5 years ago, and she owned that property. Myself, I had a different piece of property that I was actually renting, so I was paying rent basically. And she kept telling me, as time progressed in our relationship, that because of the fact that she has kids of her own and a house, mortgage payment and all that, she really wasn't willing to give that up just yet. So, and I understood that. So ultimately, I knew I was going to have to, sooner or later, make the relationship stronger by moving in with her. Yeah, so that's what I did. And because she's still got a mortgage payment on her property, my name is not on it at the time being. So I told her, after I moved in with her, that I would help her pay that off, okay, so she could get out of the debt as well. So just to clear up some confusion you might have in the introduction there, I was saying I was debt free, but then I was talking about paying off that mortgage, and that's what I'm referring to here, is that here in about 2 years, I already calculated the numbers and ran all the numbers on it with my cash flow from my day job and the new career that I'm going to be going into here in the next probably 8 months. That's the plan anyways. Things could go a little bit differently, of course, because you never know what life is going to throw you as far as curveballs, but that's the plan. And so after running the numbers, realistically, we're going to have that thing paid off within 2 years. So I just wanted to clear that up for you. And keep watching the video, because I'm on my way to Eric's house right now. He was my best man at my wedding. Been pretty much my best friend for the last 5-6 years. And we'll hear what he has to say about being debt free, because guys, when you're trying to invest, if you don't have any cash flow and you're living paycheck to paycheck, you're never going to be able to invest and do what it is you really want to do anyways. So that's why I'm emphasizing on paying off your debt, because as soon as you get that paid off, you can go ahead and invest. All right. So keep watching, and we'll pick this up when I get to his house. All right, so here's the interview that I wanted to go ahead and play for you guys. This is Eric Hoffman.
Hello.
This is one of my really good friends, probably my best friend. Actually is my best friend.
Freaking appreciate that.
My best man at my wedding, so obviously. Anyways, I'm going to ask him a few questions here in regards to debt and what it means to him being debt free, because this man's debt free as well. All right. So getting started, just tell us about your story and how you came about, like, paying off your debt and what happened. We're gonna take you back 5 years here, okay?
We're gonna go way back.
Yeah, this is
back
what, 2012?
2012.
All right, so go ahead and tell them.
Just a little backstory, but most like most Americans and most people, I was in my corporate job, doing my 9 to 5 with extra hours just to, enjoy that wonderful salary that, I overworked for.
Right.
By a lot. So.
Don't we all?
Yes, yes we do. So, a lot of hours for little pay. I'm sure everybody out there can relate. So, basically, I was working for, we'll just say, a fitness corporation without throwing any names out there for 10 years, literally 10 years of service, and worked my way up the chain, ran the facility, was the overall facility manager, and made my general manager look good, and all was going well. Moved 3 different times, 3 different clubs in my areas, over 2 different states, and really just started hitting the wall, that corporation wall where, you put in so much effort, you're trying to move up, and it just stops. And all the work you put forth doesn't matter anymore. And basically, not to mention, in the meantime, I racked up a lot of debt from school, from credit cards in general, and just trying to maintain a regular, American lifestyle. So a lot of debt, piled up, and even with a great job out of school with a bachelor's degree and everything, like you'd think everything was going great on the surface, but literally had almost 30 grand in debt.
Yeah, we figured this out. As a matter of fact, we calculated it before we even shot this interview here. It's about $27,000.
Full round.
And just to let you know, I had been through and experienced what Eric was going through at the time. I had experienced it just probably 2 years previous.
Yeah.
So like I had just gotten out of debt and was on my way to investing and beginning my investing journey, like right as I met Eric, and we ended up rooming together. We were roommates, and this was back in 2012. So I was actually watching Eric go through, a lot of what I had already experienced, and I was watching, just as a bystander basically. I was watching him go through all this, and it really, really struck a chord with me because, I was seeing his daily struggle, and it really made me want to reach out to him and help him.
Coming home late.
Yeah.
12-hour day again.
But see, this is a perfect example of how I'd say 75% of Americans are living, their lives now. Mm-hmm. Is the way we were living our lives, 5-7 years ago.
That's it.
Just paycheck to paycheck, struggling. Really didn't have a plan. We didn't know how to get out of debt. We didn't even know how the credit system really worked. And then, as time progressed, we grew a couple brain cells. But so, how much debt did you end up paying off?
It was like we were saying, $27,000, and I'll give you a quick breakdown. Basically, because of all his experiences and how he's gone through with creditors, and how to accumulate a payoff of some sort, and not to mention just talking about what debt is, because I really didn't know what it was. I'm like, I think I have an all right credit score. I don't know, but after us going back and forth so many times talking about everything, I ended up taking that 27 grand and paying it all off, and this is over, less than a year, $9,000.
So you paid, instead of paying $27,000 to pay off all your debt, you only ended up paying on $9,000 of that to get debt free, right?
9,000 of the 9,000,
Nice.
And that was the credit card debt, and then student loans as well, which I was able to. The best part of the student loans part was once I was debt free outside of student loans and a truck payment. Those are the only 2 things, which everybody seems to have that. But once I was able to eliminate my credit card debt, I was also able to take my new earnings, and with that added cash flow over the course of probably a year, almost just a couple months shy of a year, I was able to write a $17,000 check and
listen to that, $17,000, guys. And he was able to do that with just straight up cash.
Straight cash.
Straight cash. That's, you know what I call that? I call that fuck you money. Okay? And that's the kind of money you're going to need if you want to day trade or invest or anything like that. And that's why I'm shooting this video. It's because I want you to hear it straight from his mouth, not mine. So you know that, you know, what I'm showing you in these videos is in fact real. Okay? It's of substance, and it's not some bullshit that I'm just throwing you, you know, to sell you a course.
Nope.
Okay? So, next question, before we go into that. So how fast did it take you literally to pay off the $27,000 in credit, like credit cards? Was it, what about, if I remember right, it was probably about a year and a half?
It was actually less than that, because the corporation I was working for in my previous job, I was going nowhere with, and this is something that I would apply. I could tell anybody, like, you know, if you're not getting anywhere with your job, you don't have to take it. You don't have to take that any longer. It's up to you. You don't have to continue to beat your head against the same wall, because the only thing that's going to happen is you're going to get more bloody. Why not? Why just stop and go to a different area where there's no walls?
You know what I told him? I told him
burn the boat.
Yeah, burn the boat. Burn the boat and take the fucking island. That's exactly what I told him.
So I remember talking to this guy about a job opportunity with a friend. It was very high risk but huge reward.
100% commission.
100% commission. So ended up going into a sales management job with a buddy of mine in a roofing company, since I guess we don't need to say anything more than that, but it was very risky. It was very scary. I dropped all the salary stuff. There was no guarantee money. Everything was what I could make out of it and how hard I worked. And I already knew how hard I worked because I used to put in 60 hours a week, and I knew what I was capable of, and you know what I could accomplish, and was confident in my abilities. And
there, you just said it, confidence. So that's
huge.
That's another. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's another point that I want to touch on real quick with you guys. If you're day trading or investing, you need to have confidence and you need to have conviction in what you're doing. You know, you have to believe in it 100%. So it's kind of like what he was saying. With his, it was way high risk because we're not talking about investing here. We were talking about his life. You know, so
paying the bills.
Yeah, you know, I like I said, burn your boat and take the fucking island. You know, and just have 100% confidence in yourself and what you're capable of doing. And if you take that and you apply that to your investing strategy, whatever it might be, your plan with day trading, I can tell you right now with about 95% confidence that you're going to succeed, okay, whether it be long-term or short-term. You know, what I showed you with how the credit system works and paying off your debt, you know, the smart way instead of going about it unprofessionally.
Yeah.
The way I showed you how to do that, did that actually work for you?
Yeah, I mean, really, I was in a conundrum. I didn't know. All I know is I couldn't even make my minimum payments anymore. I was like trying to figure out how am I going to get out of this. It seemed like it was a no-win situation. So I kept asking my roommate, Casey, and it's like, how do I get out of this? What's the way to go? How did you get out of debt? And we used a term called the snowball effect. And I didn't know what it meant. I had to research it. And then I just kept asking him, all right, what do you mean snowball? I didn't really believe it worked. And then I started talking more and more about it. And then I actually started applying what I learned and taking his advice more seriously instead of just like, yeah, whatever, what does he know? But ended up taking it to heart and basically let all that debt go. Let it all go. I know that sounds crazy because you're like, well, what about my debit, my credit score? What about everything?
It's like actually, it's like the exact opposite of conventional wisdom.
It's going against the grain.
Which would, you know, conventional wisdom would tell you, I got to pay off all this debt, every single penny of it. You know, or my credit score is going to go down, and I'm going to lose everything. And so that fear settles in, and it gets the best of you. And so what I was telling Eric was, don't worry about that, because I actually did things the smart way, which was I went through an attorney to pay off my debt, and I learned from the attorney that I hired how the credit system works, how the creditors with credit cards work, and how there's loopholes there so that you can pay off debt and pay it off really fast. And so that's what Eric's referring to here.
He didn't even charge me.
Yeah, I have a tendency.
No retainer.
Hey, it's all about helping other people. Okay, that's basically what I built my whole YouTube channel on. HowToPlayStock.com was to help other people so that they can get out of debt, start getting the cash flow. And what was it we were just talking about? You were saying that, like, right now that he's debt free, you know, he still has bills to pay, expenses just for living. Everybody has to live, but the amount of money, like cash flow. Listen to this, because he's doing just as good as I am when it comes to cash flow. So we're on the same page, which is freaking awesome, because it's, like I said, it's Maverick over here. He's my wingman, and he's flying at the same altitude I am. But after you pay all your bills, you're left with, what do we say, like 50% of his income?
Just did the math. Literally 50% of my income, which is funny because I used to be negative on my income to debt ratio before, in 2012.
How does that feel?
Oh, I think my stress level has gone down by calculating 500%. Yeah, about 500%.
And so what has, you know, having that kind of cash flow, what has that allowed you to do with your lifestyle? You know, like with what you want to do in life.
Well, the best part about it is there's freedom to do whatever you want. I mean, that's the best part, absolute freedom. But it also, the good thing about that is remembering how you got there. Like, that's the one thing I always come back to is, okay, this is great, I got all this freedom, but stay disciplined, because you remember what it took to get here. So don't forget those principles that you used when you're getting out of debt, like living below your means. And I don't know if that took the words out of your mouth, but
yeah. Well, as a matter of fact, like it's interesting you said that, because I shot a video a long time ago, and if you're watching this for the first time, you can subscribe to the channel and go back and watch some of those videos. This one would have been from, like, probably, I don't know, 6-7 months ago. But I was talking about, you know, when you get out of debt, you can fall back in debt just as easily as you got out. And a lot of that has to do with your behavior with money. So, sorry.
Not behavior, being consistent, routines. These are all, like, the things of successful people. Like, you just have to have those routines, and don't be done with your money, because it can go away just as fast as it got there.
Boy, it sure
by wasting it on dumb stuff that you don't need, that you never would have got when you were in debt because you had no money. So just because you have money doesn't mean you need to spend it all.
Amen to that. So the last question I have for you here, and then we'll wrap this up, guys. What would you say to my subscribers who are watching right now about getting out of debt, and, you know, what cash flow can do for you?
Well, number one, you gotta have a plan. So take whatever information you have from, whether it's from Casey here, from friends, family, anybody that has experience in getting out of debt, and take all of that together and then create your own plan. Every plan is going to be different for every single person. Not everybody is living the same life and is in the same situation, so it may be easy for me here in Kansas as opposed to in a big city, and there's going to be complications and different living pitfalls. So, find a way to get out of paying your debt first. Like, start breaking down every part of your lifestyle. What do you need and what don't you need? It's all about needs and wants. If there's a way to get out of your cell phone bill by 50%, do it. If there's, what are you wasting your money on? Break every part of your spending, per month down, and start plugging away. What do I need? What don't I need? What do I have to live on? No, I got to pay rent. But where are you paying rent? Do you really need to be in that situation where you are? Or can you downsize a little bit? Because ultimately, you want to get out of debt. That's the number one thing here. So,
and then with the cash flow, just touch on that a little bit more. Like, you said it offered you quite a bit of, like, a lifestyle change and stuff like that. So, like, now that you're able to take 50% of your income after all your bills and expenses are paid. Like, are you excited that you're able to invest now?
It's it's a funny feeling that for anybody out there that does fantasy football or into sports and everything. Like,
He tried to get me into that, by the way.
never did. Never got into it. But the strategy behind it is very similar. Whereas you basically can, if you have that freedom and you're debt free and you have money coming in, what are you going to do with it? You don't have to spend it on materialistic items and stuff like that. You actually can get in the stock market, start creating your wealth, which in turn can make it work for you. So the investing part, I actually equivalent that to fantasy football, which I'm less interested in fantasy football now, for the record. And there's
why is that?
There's no payout. Number one, it's chump change compared to investing. And you can, all the skills that you have in that, watching sports, keeping up on current events, all those things can be used towards sharpening your abilities to watch the stock market, watch investing. What should I get into? What's short term? What's long term? I'm more of a long term person, and as long as you have,
lowers your risk.
And as long as you have the money, like, that's one thing this guy always told me is, like, hey, if you're going to invest, just know that if you're going to invest that money, you have to be willing to lose it. So be careful on how much how much you invest, because you could lose it all. So
That's right.
if you're going to throw 5-10 grand out there, just know if you're going to need that money back anytime soon, don't do it. But if you are willing to let it sit and let it accumulate, compound is a great investing word. Compound wealth.
It's the eighth wonder of the world, according to Einstein.
Yeah. So that's what it is, and so I got into investing, and just since we're throwing out big fun numbers, since I've been out of debt and accumulated things over the last year, because I was out of debt last year. I have actually 22 grand in the stock market right now, and this is stuff me and him have been talking about for years, and it was all just a pipe dream and just us talking about, hey, if we had money, I would invest this way. And now that I do, I'm actually doing it and having cool conversations about, well, I don't, did you check the stock market today? How far is this up? Oh man, watch it. And then, in case you don't know, I have a nickname for this guy as opposed to his channel here. He is the Oracle. So he's told me things off the record.
He's being too kind, by the way, but go ahead.
He's told me things off the record, just in a text message. Hey, watch this. Watch in 3 months. It's going to go like this. And he doesn't, nobody's investing or anything. We're just talking. And then sure enough, 3 months later, guess what happens? It happens. But you can't go back in time.
So, and last question, and then I'll wrap this up here. What's the most money that you've made in a day, just based off of some of the recommendations I've made to you, like on an investment?
Oh,
and this is not actually selling for a profit. It's just being up for the day on an investment that I'd recommended for them. So, like, do you have a kind of an idea of how much?
I mean, I've had a jump from 500. Well, it hasn't gone to 1,000 yet, but it's been pretty close on one day, and you get pretty excited, like almost like you just got the winning lotto ticket or something. Like, oh my God, I'm so glad I invested in that. It's already up by 45 cents just today.
The reason why I asked him that is because, yeah, he's right. We were talking a few days ago, and I think you were up like $875 in a day or something like that. So he could very easily, if he wanted to, he could have hit the sell button and walked away with $875 for an entire day, which is fantastic.
Exciting.
As far as passive income and not having to do anything really, that's some great money. Now it doesn't happen every day, so you have to be patient as an investor. And I guess that's what I want to finish off with here. With this interview is just kind of letting you know what he went through, and giving some credibility behind what I've been saying in a lot of my videos, my YouTube channel, and give some credibility to it with an example like this guy right here.
We were going to do this video on a beach, by the way. So instead,
we will. We'll do another one here at a later date. So
you get my place instead.
No, it's a nice place though. So that's all we have for today, guys. Hope you enjoyed the interview. if you haven't subscribed to the channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. This video is for the day trading course as well. So if you haven't checked that out, actually, as you're watching this, I haven't finished creating that. So once I get that created, I'll let you know. And I'm going to throw it into the trading course, because in order to day trade, you're going to need cash flow as well. So that's why I want to throw this in there. But other than that, hope you guys are having a good day.
You got one thing. Don't forget, income is the outcome.
That's right. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.